Okay, now moving through some more theory. And this theory, again, like after pro rata allotment, अगर chapter में कुछ important है, along with pro rata allotment, not after, along with, okay, that is forfeiture of shares. Now, we have already discussed something about the call scenarios. Call scenarios is the amount which is not paid by the shareholder, right? The company has given a call, he is not paying us a call. So that is call scenarios. So company कब तक मांगेगी ना? The company will be giving a notice to the shareholder, a 14 days notice you can see there, right? After the calls and all, warning भी दिया जाता है, reminders दिए जाते हैं to pay the calls and all. But still after that, if the shareholder is not interested in that case, a 14 days notice to the defaulters, the defaulting shareholders, okay, asking him to pay the unpaid amount along with the interest accrued, right? Interest on call scenarios wala tha point. So if he is interested anyway to pay the amount, so he will pay that. If he does not pay the amount, then what? Then the notice is clearly given that if you don't pay the amount, your shares will be forfeited. The same way, like if any, like the vehicle is purchased on installment and the person is not able to pay, the company has a right to take back his car or vehicle, anything, right? The same thing is applicable over here. Company has been asking the shareholders to pay the respective calls, the first call, the second call, the allotment. But if the shareholder doesn't pay the amount, even after giving the notice and all, company has a right to forfeit those shares. Whether the person, the shareholder, will have to forget what are the amount he has paid. Okay, वो amount जो pay किया वो भी भूल जाना है, and his name from the shareholders list will be removed, right? So that is what is the point. Let us read this once. Okay, मतलब है इतना ही, but still, if any shareholder of a company fails to pay the sum due on allotment or any call, company may, sorry, company may exercise its power to forfeit those shares as per the terms of articles of association or as per the requirements of rules laid down in table F, okay, of schedule 1 of companies act 2013. The company must give 14 days notice to the defaulting shareholder requiring him to pay the unpaid amount on shares together with the accrued interest thereon by the specified date, failing which his shares are liable to be forfeited. Company has that right. Clear? Now what happens on forfeiture? ये याद रखना. On forfeiture, such shares are cancelled and share capital is reduced with the called up amount on the shares. Called up amount. ये important है, मुझे ये आपको याद रखवाना है. Called up. ठीक है. Share capital will reduce by the called up amount of the shares and not by the nominal value, because जब हम numerical करेंगे तो many of the students do make a common mistake over here कि instead of taking the called up value, they take the nominal value. Nominal value is 10, but called up value may vary, right? It may be 5, it may be 7, it may be 8, anything. Not necessarily it can be 10, not necessarily, right? So please take care. At the time of forfeiture, company is taking back the shares, so share capital has to reduce by called up amount. Okay, the amount already paid by the shareholder is forfeited and not returned to him. Obvious है, ठीक है, कि जो अमाउंट पे किया होता है, सपोज हमने व्हीकल परचेस किया था, डाउन पेमेंट किया, 2 इंस्टॉलमेंट पे करे एंड उसके बाद हमने पे नहीं किया, तो वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट बैक द अमाउंट्स ऑफ इंस्टॉलमेंट्स पेड बाय अस. वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट दैट बैक, राइट? द सेम थिंग इज एप्लीकेबल ओवर हियर. Whatever the amount has been paid by the shareholder, that is forfeited. The person has to forget that amount, and that's a profit for the company, correct? And his name is removed from the register of the members. Company needs to maintain the register of the shareholders, right? So his name will be removed from the register of the members. So this is what is the procedure at the time of forfeiture. What are the entries to be passed? Entries, okay, for forfeiture. Entry होता है basically. Entry on forfeiture of shares when shares are issued at par. At par है तो कोई ज़्यादा issue नहीं होता, ज़्यादा thought process नहीं लगाना पड़ता है, ठीक है? So when the shares are issued at par, so we know like we are taking back the shares. The share capital has to be reduced. When we issue shares, share capital increases, so always credit. But when we take back the shares, when we forfeit the shares, so share capital reduces, so we need to debit it. The share capital account needs to be debited. You can see here, share capital account debit with called up value. ठीक है, called up capital. To share allotment, to share call. Whatever the amount is unpaid, not received by the company. Okay, some amount has not been received on allotment, some amount has not been received on first call, some amount has not been received on second call. So yes, we need to write those respective calls over here. Okay, two share allotment, two share calls, right? First call, two share second call, and whatever the amount the company has received from that particular person, okay, whose shares are forfeited. So that amount received needs to be transferred to share forfeiture. That's a profit for us. We need to credit that. Okay. One more thing, like what if we open call scenarios? This entry will be passed when we don't open call scenarios account. But if we open call scenarios account, in that case, share capital account debit, the same logic. Two calls in areas, whatever the amount is not paid by the shareholder, amount not received by the company, right, will be transferred to call scenarios. Instead of writing allotment, instead of writing to share first call, second call, we just write one account over here, call scenarios. But you need to take care if in the basic entries, if you have opened call scenarios, so call scenarios wala entry likhna. If you have not opened call scenarios account earlier, then in that case, the respective calls are to be credited over here. Where do we show these balances? The balance of share forfeiture account is added to subscribed capital on equity and liability side of the balance sheet. अब equity and liability side में तो हम लोग श्री राम के हिसाब से वो share capital लिखेंगे, but the final amount has to be there. So ये addition deduction कहाँ पर होगा? Notes to accounts में, right? Related to this, as I told you, like the preparation of balance sheet is the most important question. Like 4 marker, 3 marker expected hota hai. We will learn that by the end of the chapter, not before that. By the time, like we'll be able to understand the logic of calls in areas, calls in advance, share forfeiture, capital reserve, everything, right? Authorized hai, issued hai, subscribed hai, called up hai, paid up hai. These are basic words and basic terms, and we'll be clear with those terms. So that's why I always prefer to have the sums based on balance sheet by the end of the chapter, right? Okay, so this is what is the entry for forfeiture when the shares are issued at par. Now, what if the shares are issued at premium and those shares are forfeited, right? So in that case, we have two cases. One, the amount of premium has been received. Second, the amount of premium has not been received. ये आपको thought process में लाना पड़ेगा. Whenever you see that the shares are issued at premium and now forfeited, तो अपने आप से क्वेश्चन कर ही लेना कि भाई प्रीमियम का अमाउंट मिला है कि नहीं मिला है. That's all. Now, if the amount of premium is received, in that case, the amount of premium has to be ignored. I repeat, ये याद रखना. If the amount of premium has been received, okay, the amount of premium has to be ignored when at the time of forfeiture. So you can see the entry is very same as forfeiture of shares at par, right? Issued at par. Share capital account debit, two share allotment, two share call, two share forfeiture. The same entry was here also when the shares are issued at par. Okay. The thing is, because as I told you, the amount of premium has been received by the company, so the amount of premium needs to be ignored at the time of forfeiture. So it is very simple entry. Again, I repeat, if calls in areas account is open, so you need to have calls in areas over here instead of the respective calls. Right. Next is if the amount of premium is not received by the company, अब क्या करना है? तो normally क्या होता है कि like premium का entry we all know now कि third entry करते हैं allotment वाला, to share allotment account debited, to share capital to SPR. We credit that amount with the expectation that the shareholder is going to pay us the amount. We show it as a profit, right? But हमें क्या पता था कि like Mohan and so on कोई आ जाएगा तो they will not pay us a call, including premium. Premium तो मिला ही नहीं. Now, if premium is not received, we need to cancel it. पहले क्रेडिट किया ये सोच के कि मिल जाएगा, बट नहीं मिला तो ठीक है उसको कैंसिल करना है. कैंसिल करने के लिए we need to debit it at the time of forfeiture, right? So the remaining things are same. Share capital account debit, to share allotment, to share call, to forfeiture. This remains same. No problem with that. But whatever the amount has not been paid by the shareholder, right? Whatever the amount It may happen that a shareholder has paid a part of the premium. It may happen, right? आएंगे some so important होंगे. Okay, so if the amount of premium is not received by the company, then that amount of premium needs to be debited over here. Cancel करना है इसीलिए हम debit कर रहे हैं. At the time of writing the basic entries, वो 8 entry में share premium like securities premium is always credited, right? Because we expect that the shareholder will pay us the amount. But अगर नहीं पे कर रहा, उसके shares forfeit कर रहे हैं. जब shares ही हम cancel कर रहे हैं, तो premium भी cancel करना पड़ेगा. So that's why premium needs to be debited over there, right? If the amount of premium has not been paid, SPR, securities premium reserve, will be debited at the time of forfeiture, so that the securities premium account credited at the time of entry of due is cancelled. ये मैंने बताया आपको, ठीक है? तो forfeiture of shares is one of the very important topic after or along with the pro rata allotment. The basic meaning I have discussed with you. What entries do we pass? What entry do we pass at the time of forfeiture when the shares are issued at par? What entry do we pass if the shares issued at premium are forfeited, premium received, not received? ठीक है? Now, after forfeiture, the company can reissue the shares. ठीक है? Now, if company reissue the shares, तो पैसे मिलेंगे. Bank needs to be debited. We are issuing shares, the capital needs to be credited. But point ये है कि like at what price it is issued, maybe at par, maybe less than the face value, maybe more than the face value. Reissue में discount possible है, उसको हम loss बोलते हैं. I prefer to say a loss. I don't say that shares are issued at discount. ठीक है? Shares are issued at a loss because reissue कर रहे हैं ना, इसीलिए. If the shares are reissued at par, 10 रुपये का शेयर है, 10 रुपये में हम लोग reissue कर रहे हैं. So 10 rupees मिल रहा है ना हमको. So bank account needs to be debited and shares are issued, so share capital will be credited. ठीक है? Bank to share capital if the shares are reissued at par. Next is, what if the shares are reissued at premium? At premium, तो SPR तो आएगा ही आएगा. The face value of a share is 10, reissued at 15. That's fine. So bank account debit 15 to share capital 10 to SPR 5. Because premium to premium ही होता है, चाहे issue पे or reissue पे हो. It doesn't make any difference. Next, what if the reissue of shares is at discount? This discount word के लिए मैंने बताया ना, I prefer to use the word as a loss. Because कई बार बच्चे बोलते हैं कि सर आपने तो मना किया कि शेयर्स हम डिस्काउंट पे इशू नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, इशू नहीं कर सकते, but reissue can be done. Reissue can be at a price less than the face value. Can be. उसका भी एक limitation है. We'll come to that. Okay, so if a face value of 10 is reissued for 8, तो 2 रुपये का लॉस हो रहा है. तो that loss यहाँ पे लिखना है as bank account debit to share capital, तो लिखना ही लिखना. Bank to share capital is bound to be there. अब ये लॉस जो है वो शेयर forfeiture में लिख रहे हैं. लॉस जो डिस्काउंट की बात कर रहे थे हम लोग. Okay, that needs to be debited to share forfeiture, right? If the shares are at par, तो bank to share capital तो normal entry देखेगा ही हर एक में. Bank to share capital, again bank to share capital. ये तो है ही, चाहे the shares are issued at par, at premium or at discount. At par है तो entry खत्म, at premium है तो premium credit करो, at discount है तो discount debit नहीं करना. Loss के लिए हम लोग word use करेंगे share forfeiture account debit, right? This is really very important. अब ये जो डिस्काउंट की बात कर रहे हैं कि what is the minimum price the share can be reissued, वो पढ़ते हैं यहाँ पर. The company can reissue the forfeited shares at par or at premium or even at discount, but ये जो है ना, ये याद रखना न्यूमेरिकल के लिए. But the amount of discount and reissue shares should not exceed the amount paid by the original shareholder or shareholders. That is the amount of forfeiture. क्योंकि at the time of forfeiture हमने forfeiture में कौन सा amount credit किया था? Whatever the amount has been paid by the shareholder, right? जो भी हमें as a company हमको amount मिला था वो हमने credit किया था ना forfeiture में. So that is the amount, the maximum amount, the maximum discount the company can give at the time of reissue. उससे ज्यादा नहीं. We take a very simple example कि suppose Mohan, a shareholder, number of shares जितने भी हों, out of 10 rupees he paid us 7. He paid us 7. 3 pay नहीं करा, right? अब वही शेयर्स उसका प्रॉफिट कर लिया, हम री इश्यू कर रहे हैं. तो कंपनी को, कंपनी, what amount of discount the company can give, the maximum discount, the amount paid by the original shareholder. Mohan has paid us 7, so company can give the maximum discount of 7 to another shareholder. Suppose सोहन को रीइश्यू कर रहे हैं, तो मोहन ने 7 पे किया, तो 7 हम डिस्काउंट दे सकते हैं. That's the point. तो ये बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. Looks simple to me, but you have to remember the maximum discount at the time of reissue is the amount paid by the previous shareholder. मैं आपको यही याद दिलाऊंगा. मोहन ने कितना पे किया था? 7. मैक्सिमम डिस्काउंट कितना दे सकते हैं? 7. ये मैं रिपीट करता रहूंगा, बट आपको याद रखना होगा. ठीक है. सो दिस इज फॉर द रीइश्यू. स्टेप 1 इज forfeiture, स्टेप 2 इज रीइश्यू. अब ये होता है कि बिकॉज ऑफ forfeiture रीइश्यू देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी टू हैव सम प्रॉफिट. प्रॉफिट होता है. जैसे कंपनी हैज टू रिसीव 10 रुपीज ओनली. मोहन ने हमको 7 रुपीज दिए थे. एट द टाइम ऑफ रीइश्यू कंपनी रीइश्यूड एट ₹5. 7 मोहन ने दिए, सोहन ने 5 रुपीज दिए, कितना हो गया? 12 हो गया. Against 10, company is receiving 12. So 2 rupees is a capital profit, and that 2 rupees needs to be transferred to being a capital profit, needs to be transferred to capital reserve. ठीक है. जब हमने capital reserve का theory discuss किया था, उसमें ये point आया था. Profit at the time of forfeiture and reissue of shares. Right? Profit कैसे होगा? I repeat, Mohan paid us 7. Company could have given the discount of 7, but they are reissuing. Instead of 3, they are reissuing at 5. So 2 rupees का profit हुआ ना? So that profit is we transferred to capital reserve. Okay, so this is over here, and balance amount of forfeiture account will be transferred to capital reserve as it is a capital profit. But ये भी बहुत ज़्यादा important है. But if company has reissued only part of the forfeited shares, then the proportionate amount of balance of forfeiture account will remain in share forfeiture as they are reissued. Right? ये बहुत important point है. We'll discuss that in the numerical part. And when you transfer the amount of capital profit to a capital reserve, right? So yes, share forfeiture account debited to capital reserve is the entry required. This will be generally the last entry of the sums. Numerical sums solve करेंगे हम लोग. तो जो basic 6 to 8 entries होंगी, फिर forfeiture होगा, reissue होगा, capital reserve आएगा. इस तरह से process रहता है. Okay. Capital reserve कहाँ show करते हैं? तो capital reserve है तो reserve surplus में आएगा. Okay, now this point is also very important. Like suppose Mohan and Sohan दो shareholder हैं, तो दो में से किसके कितने shares reissue करें कुछ बताया नहीं है. So in that case, we just assume that the shares forfeited first will be reissued first. A very important point.